Oh shit, here we go again.
Hey people, a bit late to the party, but seeing as the party's dead, I'm in theme. Necromancy in Runescape, huh? After saving the world, we're dabbling with the dead, are we? Necromancy would be Runescape's fourth mystery combat flavor, the middle finger of rock, paper, scissors, the actual summoning combat style that isn't summoning, and I have tried it, enough to reach 120. The short of it is it's not as unique of a skill nor as fun to level as archaeology, but the impact it will have as a combat style is potentially huge. Due to the fact that it goes to 120, ignores the triangle of combat, and has easier equipment progression than the others, at least to a player who has achieved all other 99s. The long and bony is that the entire skill has a quest line, to which the journey of Necromancy begins near Death's office, as we're slain by an inanimate sword instead of a housemaid this time. Harold, concerned, sends us to the city of, the Underworld.
Good. My invitation has been accepted. My guest arrives in the underworld, up the river of souls, across the lake of memories, to the city of The well of souls is a beacon, a guiding light to all the vagrant dead. I will give them purpose, direction. They will spread my influence to the world above. You will be the key to my victory. I will teach you. You will be my last apprentice. I am the first necromancer.
The Big Bad is the first necromancer to exist, Raziel, and he has stolen old souls from the city of to wage war on the living surface world. To stop him, we must learn necromancy ourselves, with Death as our master, kinda. Raziel exclaims that we are his apprentice, though we don't learn anything from him directly, and neither Death, as he just picks Malignius Mortifier as our tutor. Our hero, that is us, decides they don't want to be evil and instead wants to befriend the dead, so, through consenting necrophilia, we start communing with the dead by our first ritual. This is what half the skill entails, doing rituals, either to get souls, get necromancy gear or crafting material, getting pure rune crafting essence, or upgrading the ritual resource materials. The other half is combat, and since it's outside the triangle, a new method of dealing damage was needed. Instead of splashing zeros, we get hit chance. If an enemy is too high level, the hit chance will be low, causing you to deal a cut of the maximum you possibly could. Upgrade your skill or your gear, use potions, and the hit chance improves. Pretty simple compared to remembering who is weak to what damage type. Since free-to-play players get to level up to 20, you get to level 5 by doing the tutorial quest and get enough ectoplasm, which is the main combat resource of necromancy, kinda like arrows to range or runes to magic, to level up by doing combat. It will take about half an hour to do the quest if you're reading, and about half an hour to level up to 20. I'd say it's enough time and content to decide if you'd want to pay to experience it past it. Though I don't really like the idea of a free-to-play player starting a questline that you can't finish as a free to play. This is how I started, and with the Humble Bundles deal, I'm back. Again. Though I've got to say, to me, combat in RuneScape, the game that introduces you to fishing, woodcutting, firemaking and cooking first, is secondary, so returning for a combat skill had to appeal to me on a different level. And it did. In fashion.
Look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No, 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 no.
Since it's a combat skill, it requires gear that updates with you every 10 levels, and instead of having different armor and weapons every tier, you upgrade your current gear to the next. It requires you to do a set of tasks to learn how to craft in materials to necrotically enhance by ritual. Each tier is more grindy than the last, and the most important part is it's guaranteed progress on your part, unlike other combat styles where the high tier gear is a drop chance from bosses. This is a much preferred way to get equipment. Not only that, it serves as a guiding hand to those who blitz through the tutorial or are grind-minded like me who would have done only big bones until the end, instead of trying the high tier communal rituals. I should also mention the highest gear requires you to do at the very least Jad, and after last time I didn't really want to interact with the 30-minute waiting room just to fail at Simon Says. Fortunately, the lust for digital drip got me to not only beat Jad, but the fight kiln as well. So in terms of fashion as the motivator, the skill definitely got me to PVM a bit, and from what little I've played, it doesn't absolutely destroy the other combat styles in terms of efficiency. At least not for Gregor. Having tier 90 gear, and that is also non-degradable, might seem small, but the jump from paying to maintain your gear was mentally taxing years ago for me. What if I'm not only wasting time, but also GP? That type of deal. So it might also be a persuasive part of the skill for some players. Where my major criticism lies, it would be with the ritual side. You will have to spend time here. Period. While it is half of the experience of the skill, it's a required experience. Someone might finish leveling by just doing rituals. No one can, without major setbacks, level by just combat, as the communion to get souls is required to unlock your necromancy skill's talent tree tiers. You do get points to put in through getting XP from combat, but there are no talents related to improving the ritual itself. As such, a dedicated suck all the joy out of the game efficiency player might come to hate this skill if it's only the rituals they do. Second, the rituals require candles and glyphs to be done, yet candles serve zero purpose, only to use up that 1/28th piece of inventory space as they stack. I haven't used up the basic candles I bought after the tutorial and I'm done. I'm level 120. The difference between each candle tier is how big their durability is, yet due to the repair all option selectable from the ritual focus, you going out of your way to repair candles will depend on glyph durability. On low levels, the glyphs are the same durability as the basic candles. On mid levels, the alteration glyphs are the same durability as the basic candles. And even on high levels, even if you use the highest alteration glyphs, you'd need regular white candles to match the alteration 3 glyphs at that point, which requires them to be lit. Am I going to waste time lighting non-stackable candles one by one, or just hit the repair all button at the same frequency and got used to? If there was some sort of bonus associated with higher tier candles, maybe there would be a use. But if you're mostly leveling by rituals, you're keeping an eye on disturbances, so a more frequent click to repair on all is nothing, making candles a useless mechanic. If they offered something, or were not stackable, requiring more visits to the bank, then there'd be a use. Glyphs come in two varieties, required for the ritual and alteration. The required main ones seem to have a somewhat interesting setup, as some glyphs might be used in multiple rituals. You would have switched between rituals to reuse glyphs, yet due to their durability, if one glyph is used once, the others would be out of sync, and the whole repair all option would be needed to be clicked more, so it's best if you clear the ritual site once you focus on a different ritual, meaning the whole glyph system is a bit more cosmetic than mechanical. Alteration glyphs, as the name suggests, alter the ritual, either by speeding it up, making more or less chances of disturbances happening, or multiplying the yield. They use up more resources but improve the necromantical minigame, except protection glyphs. They reduce disturbances from happening. Disturbances are little events such as click the glowy glyph, chase the ghost, and link the skeletal monkey to the fart cloud. They award XP and some materials, which is, or was, the main bulk of your ritual leveling. To lower the chances of them happening is pointless. If you really don't like them, just ignore them. There's no punishment in doing so, outside of less rewards, so in other words, they're a useless glyph since release that no one should use. If I'd make a suggestion, the glyph should award defense XP, as a new player needs to level up defense in tandem with necromancy, if they only focus on this combat style. Since it lowers disturbances, you could say you're exchanging necromancy for defense, and calling them protection glyphs would be a nice coincidence. That said, those are the practical grievances. Now onto the more subjective view on the whole ritual minigame, and why I prefer archaeology. Simply put, When new content is released, the excitement can be felt when there's a lot new players running around. For archaeology, each dig site had 3 locations to excavate per level, and multiple sites the players could be on. For necromancy, the majority of players will be in one tile, blocked by your character. Some will leave to deal with the personal fart cloud, but that would be a conal shape of activity, not a stream of players going in one direction or cycling between multiple ones. As such, the subjective excitement I feel for the update is limited. If the ritual site even had a ritual platform on the other side for other players, there would be at least twice as much activity, twice as much hype, twice as much visual interest. Or if there was a circle of ritual platforms around the site where players for more active XP had to move rotationally, after a certain time there would be this ritualistic cabal to summon the dead. With consent, of course. Even if it's one platform, there's an option to enable a fixed cam review, and as you probably already lost interest in the footage, this one fixed angle is boring to look at. Not only because it's fixed and you can't move around the focus point, but also because there's this much of unused space. This topless half-eaten giant pizza is boring to look at least there should be more visual interest on it. Maybe if the more powerful rituals had more flair to them, it would appear on this blank space. Maybe there should be a necrotic butterfly event every hour to scare other players around. Maybe the more souls we get from the bones, the pizza becomes more boneful. I just saw this exact camera angle and this exact pizza pie with no pepperoni nor green peppers, mushrooms, olives, chives, and the biggest interest there was players interacting with the ghost cat. If it took me 100 hours to get 99, then this scene was seared into my eyes for 50 hours at least. Something needs to be added here. Interrupting the possible tedium are quests. You know, to the fellow that started this shit by front stabbing us. The quests are mostly about previous students of the first Necromancer. There's nothing much to them except Drip feeding us little info about our opponent. Mostly how big bad he is. How he's not only a Necromancer but also a betrayer of his apprentices. One died due to having served his purpose, the other due to having served his purpose, the third one right in front of us due to having served his purpose. What's he planning on doing with us, I wonder? The questline's purpose, if there actually is one, is to connect our necromancy's journey to the rest of the necromancers around Gielinor, except box cover art boy. At level 65 we get a quest to fight our first boss, and if you solely focused on necromancy as a combat style, this might be your very first boss in Runescape. A level 732 boss, comment level still meaning nothing, with 2 mechanics: defeat the ads and move from the strike area. It's pretty fine, better than Giant Mole at least. The major drops are related to upgrading your necromancer armor and a quest required item. At level 95 and doing enough rituals for 30k souls, we get our final showdown. Alpha versus Omega, the first necromancers versus us. Damn. Be awkward to lose to us. We just learned necromancy in 2 weeks. Fortunately, the boss is no pushover. The overwhelming amount of mechanics being thrown, the same abilities we have being used, just in bigger number, makes it a hard to navigate fight. And the constant turning off of our deflect necromancy prayer. The strategy, of course, is to completely ignore everything and just DPS him to death. Then hope the random AoE damage doesn't hit you too much while your skeleton defeats him. And there, the first necromancer vanquish. It seems the ultimate ability that turns us into a purple skeleton disables dialogue after its duration ends. So the city of fortunately didn't skip any dialogue this time, but the skeleton ultimate prevents teleportation, skips dialogue, doesn't let you disassemble nor open some menus. A bit annoying. We defeated him, but how? What was our great power that defeated the eons powerful necromancer? Friendship.
Friendship?
That joke about us befriending every soul instead of forcing them to do our bidding in the beginning? That's what did him in, and of course, after revealing this, he turns a new leaf as he understands greater power comes from friendship, in a might makes right fashion. He then informs us that he only wanted to wage war on the surface to prevent a calamity, but now as he's defeated, he can't do anything, as it's up to us again to save the world, again, and not to do wacky adventures, again. I hate this shit. The "I only did it to protect us from an even greater evil" doesn't fly with me either. Fucker didn't explain shit before, so his reasoning means nothing. If we're his apprentice, then he had to have at least somewhat known our befriending of the dead necrophiliac ways, and since that requires 95 necromancy to complete, I'd say if any new players were to do the future content that's hinted here, there'd be another disconnect between questlines. Unless he's just talking about Zimmer Regal. And that's that. What's more there's to say? That the old necromancer should be wielding necromancy gear rather than staves? That they should deal necromancy damage instead of magic? That the deflect necromancy prayer might become as useful as deflect summoning if there's no spread of necromancy dealing damage enemies? There are some clear signs that necromancy isn't finished yet, and the city of hasn't gotten hard in elite area tasks. There's the skill unlock of conjuring 4 undead, yet we only have 3 available in total. The levels between 110 and 120 have no content. I'm going to go with an assumption there's more, but I'm good for now. The whole Forin 3 construction was a disappointment. I've built a fort for others to live rather than it feeling like home. It now serves as a quality of life hub, yet I feel it detracts from the entirety of the other locations in Runescape, and the new battle pass system really demotivated me in making another Runescape video. Still, there's potential. With archaeology, we've got to dig through past history, and now with necromancy, we can potentially conjure dead legendary heroes to talk to. The lore possibilities are plenty. I just wish it not to be another Save the World story, rather help Malignius conjure mushroom warriors or something of the like. Should you return to RuneScape for this skill? Necromancy is a final band-aid to evolution of combat. Having combat abilities was a bad choice for many reasons, one of them being all concurrent players weren't starting at level 1, but with Necromancy I'd say it's a good last valiant effort. Even I started playing half manual in my abilities at the end. You do you. Yeah, that's all. Bye.